What's up everybody, welcome to another video, and today we are in a new world of adventures, a new world of possibilities. And this might be the first non-Final Fantasy XIV video I've posted on this channel in around 3 months, outside of a few maybe like news article type things. And I've been following New World for as long as I can remember. I've always been looking forward to it, always been excited, and always been following its progression all through the development beta and up to its final release. So after completing a big part of the second expansion, I thought I'd take a day off and log in and make a character and try New World and document it in the same way I've been doing my journey through Final Fantasy XIV. If you're not into this, just let me know and we can just end it here as a, what's New World like? Let's try it. If you like it, I can play it a little bit more and we'll see what it's like, and we'll dig a little deeper into the game, and we'll pull back the curtain a little. But let me know. Do you want to see more of this, or should we just call it a day here? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments. Other than that, let's get in to New World Part 1. What's up everybody, welcome to another video. So if you're new around here, my kind of story is I've played World of Warcraft for around 15 years. I know. And then moved over to Final Fantasy XIV about 4 months ago, and I've been playing that non-stop as like my main and only MMO. I love it. Absolutely love it. But like I said, I wanted to give this a little try. I'm pretty much playing it casually. I've played it for one evening so far once I got through the initial queue. And yeah, it's very different. So I wanted to give my thoughts on how it feels as a game, as an MMO, and just is it fun to play, and just document this first day for someone who's sat there maybe considering picking it up. It's a buy to play game, so you can buy it and not feel like you need to play 30 days worth of content for your sub. You just buy it, play it whenever you want. Don't worry about any sort of subscription. So yeah, let's get straight into it. Obviously the first thing you do is you make your character. So you are a kind of conqueror going over on a ship to a new and unexplored land. The character creator itself is a million times better than World of Warcraft and a million times worse than Final Fantasy XIV. There's a lot you can do, but the style is always going to be a rugged looking man. If you're making a guy, there wasn't much. You can't be a fantasy dragon or you can't be a cat girl. So you're making a person. You're making a pretty normal person. You can have wild, crazy purple hair, but you're making a human person. And I think I originally decided I'd go with like a rugged-looking, manly man with big black eyeliner, or I don't know, what would you call it? Eyeshadow. I don't know. I like the look of it. Looks pretty rugged, but he listens to My Chemical Romance, right? So this is who I went with. And this was my first introduction to the queue, positioning Q1 and in. I wish it stayed like that because I went in again later that evening and was in a 300 person queue. So, load up Netflix, YouTube, subscribe to the channel and watch some videos if you want. But you're going to be queuing if you're on a server that's medium or higher and you're playing at a peak time. So think like 6 p.m. in the EU time zone. You're going to be in a queue if you're on a medium to high server. I think I'm on a medium server and I queued pretty hard in the evening. And then I guess the first thing they show you is combat. So coming from Final Fantasy and WoW, both of those are tab target games. So you click on your enemy or you tab your enemy and then you just smash 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and hotkeys and keybinds, and that's your combat. And every big MMORPG I've played has had that system really. I've never really got into Elder Scrolls Online or Guild Wars 2. And I'd say this combat is more action combat like that. It's nothing like, the big, amazing action combat games. It's very basic, but it feels responsive, it feels fun, and it feels impactful. Like you dodge at the right time. There's no clipping or issues. You literally dodge around their attacks. You block, they hit your shield and stagger back. It feels good. And then the next thing to know is the more you use a certain weapon, that weapon levels up. So there's no classes or jobs or special things like that. Your class is your weapon. So which I think that's kind of similar to how Guild Wars does it, where your attacks are based on the weapon you have equipped. I've not really played much of Guild Wars 2, it was many years ago. I think that's how they do it. So if you have a sword and shield, you can go into these 2 different trees of Swordmaster and Defender, and every weapon is like that. And you're going to see here the big problem I'm having so far with New World You see Q, R, and F, 3 skills. That's it. I think that's it. I've now got 2 weapons slots, so you can have like a sword in your top slot and then a gun or a bow in your second, or you can have two weapons, like like a sword and a spear kind of thing. So you'd get 3 skills on the sword and 3 skills on the spear, giving you a total of 6 with weapon switching. But it doesn't feel like a lot. So coming from Final Fantasy, where you have 20 skills and you're doing stuff on a global cooldown and then you're weaving stuff in between, and it was the same in WoW. You have a big variety of skills that you're casting and weaving around. This definitely feels a little simple but fun. Know what you're getting into. You know this isn't an intense programmable fight where you have to know your rotation and you have to maximize DPS. It's more, if something's coming for you, back off, dodge, block, manage your stamina. If there's multiple enemies, know who to engage, when to engage, and where. If there's an enemy moving, you have to hit them with your bow. You have to aim, predict where they're going to move into, and shoot them like an FPS game. So it's very, very different. It's not an MMO I've ever been able to get into, but for some reason I'm kind of enjoying the simplicity in this game. And yeah, it's a nice break. It's very different. I definitely say, don't be put off by it, but know what to expect. And then once you reach this first little camp in this like starter area, you're introduced to attributes and trade skills and stuff like that. And in attributes, there's strength, dexterity, intelligence, focus, and constitution. So I think from the bottom up, it's like health. And then I think focus is for healing weapons. The life staff. I'm guessing that's a healing weapon. It does have the Holy Trinity, I think, in this game. So there's your healing. That buffs your healing. Then you've got intelligence, which seems to be for magical attacks. Dexterity seems to be for ranged weapons and fast weapons like the rapier and the spear, or the bow and the guns. And then strength is obviously for your upfront damage with like swords and hammers and things like that. It seems pretty simple. I'm dumping all my points into dexterity and just running around with a bow and arrow like some sort of crazed Legolas. That's the kind of thing I wanted to try. I think you can respec. So far, all respecing seems free. But I read online that don't quote me on this, but from 20, you have to start paying for respecs. So when you start, have fun. I've respected a couple of times, and it's always been free. I went for it to something else, and then came back to a full dexterity build. And it seems fun. Seems simple. And then you're introduced to crafting. And I gotta say, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, if you don't like crafting in MMORPGs, this might not be for you. That's a pretty broad statement, but it seems like crafting is heavily involved here. And it's super realistic in terms of it feels more like you're playing Rust or some big survival MMO rather than you're playing your traditional MMO, where I'd say it's the closest MMO I can relate it to is something like RuneScape, where you literally have to go out and grind trees to level up your harvesting. And yeah, you're going to be spending a lot of time crafting. You can see here, you're taught how to make the basic stuff like an axe, a harvesting cutter for herbs, and a skinning knife, things like that. And you level up by doing more and more of it and increasing your skill, and then making new crafting tools, and then going back out and doing bigger trees. So let's say you're doing logging, you go do small trees, you get a better axe, you go do bigger trees, and then you can refine the logs down into lumber and start crafting with them. But it's time consuming. It's really, really involved. You're going to be spending a lot of time. I've played this for one day, and I've done a couple of hours of crafting. As someone who grew up on RuneScape and has spent countless hours logging ore and all that fun stuff in RuneScape, and someone who loves the crafting in Final Fantasy, and I've got max professions in World of Warcraft, I like it. I love a crafting game. I play Rust. I love the idea of going out and harvesting and crafting and being self-sufficient. So for me, it's fun. And it just feels like if you just want to go log on and just do some crafts, turn PvP off, it's pretty peaceful. It's pretty fun, and it's pretty relaxing. If you don't like it, it's probably a massive chore. If you're watching this and going, wow, this looks dull, then maybe this ain't for you. And then if we talk about like the early questing experience, the story so far is really basic. The story is seems more of a framework to get you out in the world killing stuff. And the quests so far seem to be go out, fetch this, go to this new area, kill this, fetch this. It seems a lot more like World of Warcraft than it does Final Fantasy. You're not going to be sat reading tons of text. You're just going to be out hunting and a lot of walking. I'm going to get to that later. But one of the good things is you just go out, you find a new weapon. I went to this like shipwreck, picked up a hammer, and then just started absolutely deleting stuff with a hammer, which was just crazy fun. And it just felt kind of mindless. You can just, I had like a show on the second monitor, and I was just running around fighting stuff. If you like grindy games or, you know, like the traditional old school MMOs, it reminds me a lot of that. It's just go out, kill stuff, get some experience points, level up, kill more stuff, go over to new zones, fight stronger stuff. And then there's the PvP and dungeons mixed in along the way. Everything you do seems an element of simplicity, but refined and polished. I was having like okay fun in the game, and then I got my first ranged weapon. I got a bow and made some arrows for it, and oh man, this is fun. Ranged combat feels real good. You got to aim high, aim where your enemy's moving, catch him in the right area, hit him in the head for more damage. It feels real good. And I haven't even got like a gun or like a musket or anything yet. It seems really, really fun. I'm gonna specialize as a ranged character. You can see you just go hunt some stuff, skin the boar. It just feels immersive in the way that you've got full control over your character and your aiming. You kill the enemy, you skin the enemy, you go and then you go and, you know, craft more arrows, and you can turn the meat into rations which heal you, and you level up your cooking. And that circle of there's always something to craft. You know, you while you're out there, maybe you chop some trees, and then you can go and level up your logging, and then go level up you can go craft with them, or maybe you'll go do some mining and then forging, and then while you're out there you'll find more stuff. Maybe you'll level up your bow while you're out in the wild. And that just hits me with the RuneScape, where there's like 50 skills and you're just constantly leveling up something, and you can play all day and just go on a wild adventure. And that's what I'm enjoying most about the game. I've not looked up any guides, any builds. Maybe if putting all your points in dexterity is the most foolish thing I could do. Maybe I shouldn't be worried about crafting or gathering at the start. And that's probably true, but I'm just having fun. I'm just going around as a new person, landing on this island in this new world with no idea what to do. And I'm loving the not knowing. And then the story kind of leads you to your first town, First Light Hamlet. And here you have all the crafting hubs, the quest hubs, the guilds, factions kind of thing, which I'll talk on in a moment. And there's a lot going on. There's housing, which you kind of notice upon as soon as you walk in. No idea how any of this works. This is not a guide. This is my first impressions. I've got no idea how any of this stuff works. But it's here. You go in and everything is just here. You see people running around in their kitted out gear, and it starts to feel a little more like an MMORPG. And then the game holds your hand and walks you around town and tells you what everything does and how to use everything. One thing that seems a little strange to me is I'm not seeing any vendors to sell stuff to, which maybe I'm being a fool, but they teach you how to put stuff on the market board and how to buy from the market board. And all I've been doing so far is listing items on the market board to try it out, or I've not bought anything yet, or you can buy stuff on the market board, or you can salvage your gear to turn it down into resources. So maybe, I don't know, you'd break down a dress and turn it into cloth. I don't know. I just put this up for fun, just see how it worked. But yeah, I'm not seeing any vendors where you can sell all your old loot to, which is different. It's a good take on the economy, and it probably will help with like gold inflation, but it's different. You don't see that very often, and I kind of like it. I'm probably wrong. Maybe there's like loads of vendors in the next town. I don't know. Maybe tell me in the comments if I'm completely wrong on that. And then you're introduced properly to crafting. Not just making tools, but go gather. Go gather a lot and then craft it. So you can see what you see now. You're going to be doing a lot of this. Breaking down rocks. Chopping down trees. And then running it back to the city and turning it all in on the crafting stations. So turning like your wood into timber. So yeah, and you see you level up your woodworking. That cycle, it seems pretty involved in this game, especially with how deep the crafting systems go. It seems like, would you play RuneScape if all you ever looked at was your combat experience? Like maybe there are people who play RuneScape and only do combat, but it feels like there's a big reliance on crafting, and they've put a lot of time into it. So I'm assuming you're going to need it at points in the game. But who knows? Who knows? I'm going to do it. I love crafting, so I'll be getting involved with it. Another cool thing is, as you do more stuff in a territory, you level up in that territory. So I'm in First Light, and I've just leveled up in First Light So I have a territory standing reward for improving things like rep gain. So I lowered my crafting time and my my gathering speed. And you can take these little perks every time you level up your standing in those zones, which is really cool. It seems as well that the zones are owned by different factions. Again, I'm going to get into the factions soon. But it's a really interesting system. I'm probably taking all the wrong things, but I'm just having fun, you know, just making mistakes, having fun with it. And when I said it feels more like you're playing Rust or a survival game, this is what I mean. You go chop some wood, you go gather some flint, you build a campfire. So I'm building like a camp tier 1, which can be used as a respawn point, and you can use it to craft things. And it really feels like a survival game, and I love survival games. Rust is an incredible game in my eyes. So things like that really hit well with me. So you build your little campfire, you set your so you go really far out to where the enemies are that you want to fight. I went to, like, I think it was like a tiger cave or like a boar camp. I can't remember, but there was some like big gathering of enemies. So you build a little campfire to respawn if you die. You craft what you need. I made a few health kits, like I cooked some boar meat, and then I crafted some flint arrows for my bow. And then you go out and start fighting. And I had to hunt these wolves. I think they're wolves. Yeah, wolves for the quest. And while I was here, I chopped some trees, gathered some rocks, and yeah, just treat it like a little adventuring hub, and leveling up my bow to get some new bow skills, leveling up I think it was a sword I had at the time. And yeah, some other people get involved, and everyone kind of works together. And yeah, it's just pretty... everything just felt like an old, simple MMO, but with great graphics and brought up to modern day. I don't know, maybe it's because I was born in the 90s and I'm a bit old now, but this simplicity really hits well with me. And then after you play for a while, you have to pick a faction. So there are 3 factions in the game. There's these guys, the Marauders, which are like pirates, I think? And then you've got these Covenant guys who seem like a religious, holy... They look like paladins, and they're like protectors of the spark, whatever that means. And then finally you have the Syndicate, which seem like dark wizard type, witch doctor type people. Again, I'm not too sure. They don't really tell you all this much, but yeah, they're your 3 factions. And if you zoom out on the map, you can see that factions can own different areas. So the area I'm in right now, First Light, is owned by the Inquisitors. They're the yellow guys. And there's territory wars for each zone, depending on who you join. So once you've spoke to them all, you go and join one. I joined the Inquisitors. I don't know why. I really don't know why. I just kind of winged it. They weren't exactly winning on the world map, but you just have to pick one. I really don't know if there's a special one for each. Like maybe the Marauders are best with like strength weapons or something like that. I don't know. Marauders definitely seem the coolest, but I really like the look of the yellow guys, the Covenants with the shield and the light. Kind of look like a paladin kind of vibe. So I went with those. Seem really cool. So yeah, I swear to protect the spark. And in a Covenant, I think it's all about fighting. So you could sign up for a war between the Covenant and the Marauders. We were massively outnumbered when I looked at this. Maybe I made the wrong decision. But you could sign up for a war, which is happening the next day. I didn't sign up because I'm like level 10 and I was scared. But I did want to see what PvP was like with other factions. So you can basically, once you're in a city, you can toggle with the U key, PvP on or off. And then once you go outside of the city, it counts down and then you're flagged for PvP. There doesn't seem to be any punishments for dying, but dying, you will. So I flagged PvP on and ran outside and just tried to work out how it works. So I just shot like random arrows at people just to see how it worked and how you could tell when other people were flagged, basically. So you can see here, I tried a pop shot there, nothing works. And then I saw what looks like a raiding party of 5 people who had a big, thick green arrow, which I'm guessing is the sign that they're PvP flagged. And I shot at one just to test it. And you know, I guess the Darwin Award here goes to me. Me with my little bow, my grey level 1 bow probably, against this absolute unit of people. I had magic, muskets, everything fired at me, and I died. And yeah, I feel like with PvP you get increased experience, you get to aid the war effort, but you're gonna die a lot. It seems like if you're outnumbered, you've got a real problem, and a lot of people are going around in groups or with like one friend. So PvP solo might be a bit of a challenge. And I'm currently the only person I know on this server. So if you want to join Perseus EU and join the yellow guys, that would really be nice. And then I don't really know much else about the story. There's like corruption on the island, and that's kind of the grander story. But in terms of what I'm doing now, it's kind of just pushing me into different places. It then takes you to your Covenant leader, and you have an armory of all the different things you can buy, and you have quests. So you have PvP quests, which seem to give the most reward, and then you have non-PvP quests, which give I think currency and reputation, like the tokens and reputation. So that's how you buy the cool stuff, and I guess rank up. So I took 3 of these, like the PvE quests, and tried those out. I picked some weapons I felt comfortable with that I wanted to level up, and I went out on a little mission. And yeah, that's kind of it. I was just leveling up my skills, doing a bit of crafting along the way, earning this faction reputation and currency. And it was just pretty fun, pretty cool. I feel like maybe I should have done a bit more of the story, but I just wanted to just go out and level some weapons and just do more of the sandbox, like freedom style stuff first, and get a bit more used to the combat. And so that's what I did. I liked not being liberated to any like grand story straight away. This was just cool to just go out and just level something up, and the best thing about the game is you're always working on something. So while I'm here, I'm leveling up my weapons, I'm getting reputation, I'm getting currency. I could go and chop that tree down and level up my logging. And yeah, you're always just kind of working on something. And you see here, I'm skinning, leveling up that. And I do like that. Like I go on it for an hour, and it's just a productive hour of something. Maybe not what I went on it to do, but it's just a productive hour. It really reminds me of RuneScape, or that style of game where you just get lost in the different things and the story is an afterthought. So that's pretty much everything I did on my first day. I'll end this with a couple of like pros and cons. And the biggest one for me is what you see here. This isn't a walk. This isn't a sprint. This is the only movement speed in the game. It's some weird like 50% run speed. And there's no way to... I keep smashing shift, which is roll, thinking I can run. But this is it. You're just constantly wanting to go a little faster. And everything is really far away. So you just feel a little annoyed. I do. I just feel a little annoyed all the time because I just want a little speed boost. Maybe like a sprint on cooldown or a mount or fast travels closer together. But yeah, you're going to be... I want to say running. You're going to be like jogging everywhere in this game until you start fast traveling everywhere. But when you're going out to get resources and you're going out to these little camps, there's no fast travel points in them. So you're running to them and then either running back or fast traveling or recalling back. So that's one big issue I've had. The second, I'd say the combat. I touched on it being simple. You can see here I've got 2 skills on my spear and 2 skills on my bow. That's kind of my main weapons for now that I like. And it does feel a little slow. So on my spear, I can throw it, and then I can do a bleed. That's it until they come off cooldown. Then it's just stab, stab, roll, stab, roll. I don't think it's going to get massively better with 3. It feels very simple, but I don't know how that's going to go in like dungeons or like big scaled PvP. So yeah, the crafting, love it. The pacing, a little slow. The combat, a little simple. Other than that, it just feels like a calm and enjoyable, relaxing experience. That's how I would put it so far. I just came on, chilled out, did some stuff. There was no overwhelming pressure to progress in any certain direction. In my next one, I do want to progress the story and get to a dungeon. So if you do want to see a part 2 to this, let me know. If you want to just leave it as a first impressions, let me know. I'm going to be playing a lot of Final Fantasy over the next few days, but maybe at the weekend I'll get another day on this. So yeah, I'd love to know if you want to see more. Other than that, as always, thank you for watching these videos. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one.